Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's video. It's going to take us around the 7th of October. So it looks like the weather could be starting to turn a bit more unsettled now. We did a video yesterday with the Beijing Climate Centre, which was hinting at quite an unsettled October actually, with a fair amount of low pressure influences. We might now be starting to see the first signs of this within the shorter range model output. Not all of the models, but some models are now beginning to pick up on the possibility of unsettled conditions, possibly as early as next week, or if not, into the second week of October. So I'll bring you up to date with all the latest developments in a moment. We're going to start off with what's happening in the tropical Atlantic, and then the end of the video, something a little bit interesting, just a bit of fun really, if you're interested in the Christmas updates, which won't begin until the 1st of November in terms of the video updates for Christmas, but we'll have a couple of written updates coming up at Gasworthy's during October for Christmas. So just a little bit of fun. I shouldn't really be showing you it, but I will show you one of these CFS V2 runs that we've had turn up today, covering the Christmas period. So hang around to the end of the video for just a little bit of a laugh. Right, we're going to start off though with what's happening in the tropical Atlantic. Two areas of interest. We've got Tropical Storm Kirk down here, just heading into the Windward and Leeward Islands. So if you have a look at what Kirk is doing, got sustained winds of 50 miles an hour. So we're talking about gale force winds here with Tropical Storm Kirk, and of course gusts will be going up to sort of 70, 80 miles an hour probably with that. So this is the latest forecast from the National Hurricane Centre for Tropical Storm Kirk. Current position is just there. The storm is going to move south of Puerto Rico as we get through to the end of the week and into the weekend. That's positioned by Sunday somewhere to the south of Haiti and Dominican Republic. By then going down to a post-tropical storm. So packing quite an impact, not a hurricane, but it is packing quite an impact. There'll be a lot of heavy rain associated with that and very strong winds as well. Then up here we've got this red X to the northern part of the tropical Atlantic. So that is disturbance 1. It has a 90% chance of cyclone formation in the next 48 hours. So very high chance it's going to turn into a storm in the next couple of days. Post-tropical cyclone Leslie, located over the central Atlantic Ocean, several hundred miles west-southwest of the Azores, remains a powerful non-tropical low pressure with hurricane force winds. The associated shower activity is gradually becoming more organised. Leslie is expected to again become a subtropical storm or possibly even a tropical storm later today, Thursday, or tomorrow, Friday, while it moves west-southwest at about 10 miles an hour over the north central Atlantic Ocean. For more information on this system, see a high seas forecast issued by the National Weather Service. It's got a 90% chance of becoming a storm in the next 48 hours and a 90% chance of becoming a storm in the next 5 days. So really impactful low pressure. That one, I think we'll be hearing a bit more about Leslie in the coming days. Right, let's have a look at the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the Penn State University. We have got today the GFS here on the bottom, and the ECM, which we'll have a look at, is actually up there on the top. We'll have a look at that in a moment. So 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is an area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Blue extrapolates to high pressure, yellow, orange and red extrapolating to low pressure. These are mean flowcharts for 7 to 10 days time. And we see that with the GFS, we've got below average heights to the north of the UK, around Greenland and Scandinavia, but we have got this ridge of above average heights in the 7 to 10 day time frame to the south. The lines here, that's indicated where the jet stream is, coming across the Atlantic, rather like that. So jet stream's a little bit to our north. We're close to a ridge of high pressure. It doesn't look too bad, the GFS, in the 7 to 10 day time frame. Not too unsettled. But if I scroll you up to the ECM, this is what the ECM is showing in the 7 to 10 day time frame. It looks much more unsettled. We've got this area of below average heights much further south and much deeper into the North Atlantic and the UK. That area of above average heights is there, but it is further south as well. That's centred across France and southern parts of Europe. And so the jet stream, again indicated by those black lines here, coming through the Atlantic into the UK and Europe, a much stronger jet stream heading into the UK. So that looks much more unsettled in the 7 to 10 day time frame compared to the GFS. So the GFS is kind of like trying to hang on to the ridge, but the ECM is breaking this down in the 7 to 10 day time frame and turning things a lot more unsettled. That's how the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles are looking for the next couple of weeks. Looking at Canterbury today. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Canterbury today. And we're starting off pretty warm, really. The temperatures are way above average down in the south and southeast of the country. You're going to be seeing temperature up to 22, 23 degrees. And do make the most of that, because it could well be the last time this year that temperatures get into below 20. You never know. October can be warm. I mean, 2 or 3 years ago, we even saw temperatures up into below 20s on Halloween. So you can never totally rule anything out with the weather. But, of course, the further on into the autumn we go, the greater the chance that we won't get temperatures back into the 20s again. So I'd just make the most of it if you do enjoy that sort of warm weather down in the south and the southeast today. You can see that by tomorrow into weekend, those temperatures are on the slide, becoming quite cool really as we go into weekend, going below average. Early next week, the temperatures lift up a little bit, but not as much as they are at the moment. And as we go into the second week of October, this period just here, we see evidence that the temperatures are lowering once again. So once we get today out of the way, no sign of any particularly warm weather coming up really through into the start of October. Precipitation-wise, a lot of dry weather coming up over the next week to 10 days, but we do see more precipitation spikes appearing here in the second week of October. That is still extended rain stuff, so it's not to be relied upon, but perhaps just a suggestion that things might begin to turn more unsettled in the second week of October. And as we know, the ECM actually wants to turn things more unsettled as early as next week. This is how the GFS is looking then for Sunday. We've got a cold front moving southwards on Sunday, introducing quite a chilly northwesterly wind. That takes us into Monday, when the winds actually turn into the north on the first day of October. If I show you the upper air temperature, you see we've got a little puddle of -5, 850 HPA air coming into the northeast Scotland. So it's not totally out of question, but somewhere like Inverness might get some wintry showers through the early part of next week on sort of Sunday to Monday. Into Tuesday, and the wind backs into west. That will bring milder air in from off the Atlantic. High pressure to the south, low pressure up to the north. And then we go through the course of next week. Again, still with that high pressure down to the south, low pressure up to the north. So it looks rather unsettled for Scotland and Northern Ireland through the middle part of next week. That the high pressure across England and Wales should give a reasonable amount of dry, pleasant weather. Into our extended range, so heading up towards day 10, we get Saturday the 6th of October. And again, we brought another cold front down from the north. That again introducing a shot of air from the north with high pressure out to our west. There's the upper air temperatures for Saturday the 6th of October, actually bringing that -5 ice front further south across Scotland in towards northern England. So that's starting to bring risk of night frost and also wintry showers to northern parts of the country there. These are the thickness lines, so I taught you through these a couple of weeks ago. This line just here, the 564 line, that's summer. So if you're behind that line, within that line, you'll have summer-like temperatures. Notice by Saturday, 6th of October, that's being pushed down into the Mediterranean. This green line, the 546 line, that's autumnal type conditions. That's well into the UK at that point. This blue line is the 528 thickness line, and if you're within that line, you've kind of like got wintry type temperatures. One of the minimum requirements that we look at to get snow. You notice that that's flirting with northern and eastern parts of the country running down the North Sea. So not too far away with the 5 to 8 thickness line by Saturday, the 6th of October. However, it doesn't get to us, it's too early for that. By Sunday the 7th of October, which is day 10, high pressure is in control of the weather again, bringing a reasonable amount of dry, pleasant weather. That high pressure begins to move away to our east as we go through the second week of October. The Atlantic starts to ramp itself up, begins to rev up, and by the time we get through to the end of a GFS run, which is Saturday 13th of October, as far as we can go, we're into properly Atlantic-driven wet and windy weather. So that's a real change taking place there in the second week of October, in line with what the Beijing Climate Centre was telling us yesterday. The Atlantic properly breaks through during that second week of October on this GFS run. It's a long way out, it's in the extended range, so it's unreliable, but it would back up what the Beijing Climate Centre was telling us yesterday. Now, the ECM is actually more unsettled earlier than the GFS, so let's have a look at this. Starting again on Sunday, we've got this cold front moving southwards across the country on Sunday, introducing this chilly northerly wind through the early part of next week. Then through to the middle part of next week, we get the high pressure building to the south, but we've got low pressure up to the north, so a bit of a north-south split through the middle part of next week. But then it starts to turn more unsettled, even down in the south in the extended range. It's taking us up towards day 10, Saturday the 6th of October. This quite deep area of low pressure is moving in across the whole country. That will bring wet and windy weather to many parts of the UK then. And as we get through to day 10, Sunday the 7th, we saw it on the height anomaly flow charts. The westerly, the Atlantic winds have properly broken through there, and so the GFS does get to that point, but it does it later. It does it through the second week of October. The ECM is actually breaking the Atlantic through during this first week of October. But whichever model you take, it's just a few days difference. Both models are indicating that the Atlantic and the westerlies could well be coming back through the early part of October. Let's see what the GM has to say. The Canadian model looks like that. Again, there's that push of northerly winds through the early part of next week. Will bring a chilly start to next week. And then similar to the GFS, really, in that it looks more, similar to the ECM, I should say, in that it looks more unsettled through this first week of October compared to what the GFS is showing. Actually, we get to day 10 and we are properly wet and windy already on Sunday, the 7th of October. So the GFS wants to cling on to high pressure for a little bit longer than the other two models, although it does eventually, by the second week of October, it is eventually turning things more unsettled. But just for a few more days, the GFS wants to cling on to high pressure, whereas the ECM and the GEM appear to be breaking this down and turning things properly, genuinely unsettled as early as next week, really, particularly the second half of next week. So we'll wait and see how that's going to pan out. But I think whichever model we take, eventually it does look as though Atlantic winds and unsettled conditions or autumnal weather could well be setting in through October. Right, I promised you a bit of a laugh, so let's just have a look at what the CFS, the long-range model, is showing for Christmas on this 6 o'clock run of the CFS. It's always worthwhile having a look at these just for a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. They're at metrosteel.fr. They show all 4 CFS runs that are run every single day. Starting off on the 17th of December, nothing particularly interesting about that chart. We've got high pressure to our south, low pressure to our north, and bringing in this mild west-southwest wind. But as we run up towards Christmas, look what this CFS run does. It turns the wind into the north, and then we slink this trough of low pressure down through the country. That's Christmas Eve, as this trough is sinking down over the country. We're raising heights out to the west, so we're getting high pressure moving to our west and north. The trough is sinking to our south, and that's turning wind into this east northeasterly, so that will bring very cold air in from the north. By the time you get through to Christmas Day, well, look at that, we're in a proper sort of northeasterly wind. If you want a white Christmas, that's the kind of thing you're looking for, because you've got high pressure out to the northwest, low pressure to the south-southeast, bringing in these cold, bitterly cold east or northeasterly winds. And with the low pressure close to the country, obviously there would be precipitation as well. So you'd have snow showers moving in from the east on those cold east or northeasterly winds. But it actually does set up quite a prolonged cold spell, this CFS run. It has high pressure sinking down over the country between Christmas and New Year. That will bring lots of dry but frosty, bitterly cold weather. And then as you get up towards the New Year and the start of 2019, we take that blocking high up towards Greenland and set up a proper sort of blocking feature there, and then we renew that east or northeasterly push with those easterly winds bringing again bitterly cold air out of Scandinavia, very wintry, quite a bit of snow will be coming in with those as well. And as far as I'm going to run you to is the 9th of January, when it looks like we're locked into very cold weather there, low pressure to our south, high pressure still blocking things out to the north. So prolonged cold spell showing up on that CFS run, coinciding with Christmas. So if you want a white Christmas, that's the kind of thing you're looking for. Do bear in mind this CFS model is highly prone to chopping and changing. It's run 4 times a day, and most of the runs look different to one another. So it's just a bit of a laugh. I should have shown you it really, but I thought why not throw it in at the end of today's video, because it is the kind of thing you'll be wanting if you do want snow over Christmas. And just to say that the video updates for Christmas begin on the 1st of November. As always, we'll use this long-range CFS model and the charts at Metro CL, and we'll do regular, sort of every other day, updates from the 1st of November through to Christmas to show you what CFS model is showing for Christmas. Before that, actually, we always do a couple of written updates for Christmas during October, again, using these charts from Metro CL. .fr. So all the stuff for Christmas is going to start getting going very shortly. Right, so that's brought you up to date with everything, and the coming back to the sort of next week to 10 days, it looks like the writing is on the wall ready for this high pressure that's been dominating for a very long time. We've said this a lot though over the past few months. The high pressure always seems to keep coming back, but this time, reading between the lines, both with the long range models and the short range models, it does look as though October is going to see quite a big change to something a lot more unsettled. Whether it happens through the first week of October or is a little bit delayed into the second week as the GFS is showing, I think we have got some properly autumnal wind and rain on the way during October. So if you enjoy high pressure and warm dry conditions, make the most of today. And there will still be some warm and dry conditions to be enjoyed in the south next week, but not to this week's extent. And I think overall the trend is to unsettled, increasingly unsettled, wet and windy weather. Right, that's all now. Tomorrow we'll have a look at JMA Friday, so that'll be your month-end look ahead, see whether the CFS and JMA models are in agreement with this prognosis about a more unsettled October. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.